What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to play Crash Team Racing Part 1. This is the first Crash Bandicoot spin-off game, the first Crash Bandicoot racing game. The last game that Naughty Dog, the last Crash Bandicoot game that Naughty Dog made. And the last one... And the last Crash game to have Cortex's voice actor talk about different things like this. And you see, this looks pretty much like Crash 3. I think the background might be a little bit brighter, or not. Maybe it may actually be the same, background-wise and everything. But yeah, it's that's just some of the starting facts and everything. Now, you see here Crash holding a trophy. Sit here through this animation. And this is actually the first Crash game to have a pretty detailed menu screen. And you have other options here. You have adventure, time trial, arcade, versus, battle, and then the high score. The versus and the battle are two-player only. The arcade allows you to choose any track that you want under different circumstances. I'm going to go ahead and sit here for a moment because there's a cutscene that will come up. It's like with some of the older Crash games, or at least with Crash 1, where if you waited at the menu, you'd see a cutscene. You have race today, trophy, prize, each track, and this.
So you pesky earth slugs like to race, eh? Well, nitrous oxide. I'm the fastest racer in the galaxy. I travel the stars looking for creatures to test my skills. It's a little game I call survival of the fastest. Here's the way we play. I challenge the best driver of your world to a race for the planet. If your driver wins, I'll leave your miserable little rock alone. But if I win, I'll turn your entire globe into a concrete parking lot and make you my slaves. Get ready to race for the fate of your planet.
And you can see the 3 islands down there. So everybody is making modifications to their cars. If you notice there, Coco's eyes her pupils get really big for some reason. That is not explained in the game. And this kind of just shows you different tracks. This isn't, who owns these tracks, just, different tracks in the game. This is not a track in the game, however. And you see Crash just sitting there sleeping. But anyway, so that's just kind of gives you a a background to the story and what's going on with the story. So we'll go ahead and skip this really quickly. Now this game has some cheat codes that you can add. The only one that I'm going to use for now is one that how you activate these cheat codes. So you hold both the L1 and the R1 buttons, and then you push. Let's see. Let me see. I'm surprised I can't remember that. It's such an easy one to do. Just give me a moment. I'll see if I can figure out if I can remember that thing really quickly. Alright, can't believe I forgot it, but it's hold L1 R1 at the same time, push triangle, right, circle, left, and then once you hear that tone, that means the cheat code works. And so we'll go ahead and hit new adventure here. And this will give you super boost pads or boost pads littered around each track. Well, that will give you, it'll make you go faster, which will definitely help me out while I'm doing this Let's Play. But anyway, so the characters you can choose are Crash, Purra, Polar, Dingo, Engine, Coco, Tiny, and Cortex. And you can see here that has a bar that tells you how good or I guess kind of a stat thing that tells you how good these characters are. And on a out of 5, I guess you could say like 1 out of 5 or something like that, out of 5 possible numbers you can choose. Crash, speed, acceleration, handling is 3 out of 5, and he is a overall good character. You know, he's not the best, but he's not terrible. And everything. The same with Cortex. You can see here he has an all-around car as well. 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5. Now with Tiny, you can see he's advanced and he has speed as his best. So he's 5 out of 5 for speed, 2 out of 5 for acceleration, but his handling is poor with only a 1 out of 5. And he's very, very difficult to turn with. Now Coco here, you can see she's intermediate as well, just like Crash and Cortex are. But she is 3 out of 5 for speed, 5 out of 5 for acceleration, but her handling suffers with 2 out of 5. Her best thing is acceleration, as well as engines. He is 3 out of 5, 5 out of 5, and 2 out of 5 for speed, handling, and acceleration. Speed, acceleration, and handling, respectively. Dingo is 5 out of 5 with speed, 2 out of 5 with acceleration, and 1 out of 5 with handling. His thing is top speed, just like Tiny's. Polar's beginner is 2 out of 5 for speed, 3 out of 5 for acceleration, and 5 out of 5 for handling. Not a very good card, but you know it does turn very, very well. And you can see here, Purr is the same. But I'm going to go ahead and choose Crash just because that's the character that I've been using. You can see here Crash playing with his yo-yo, doing different tricks, except this time his yo-yo is blue, kind of almost the same color as his pants or his car. But yeah, that should help you choose the kind of car that you want based on those stats, and you know who you want and all that. But anyway, so I'll go ahead and save over that. And there you go. You know, it's a bit more detailed than the previous Crash titles, but because those are more linear, platforming-based stories, and this is a racing title.
Welcome to the Adventure Arena. You can travel around this area and practice your driving skills. The dots and stars on the map represent warp pads, which lead to races. When they flash, it signifies they are open to play. To access a racetrack, drive onto a warp pad that has an active warp vortex, and it will take you to the track start line. Finish a track in first place to win a trophy. As you collect more trophies, other tracks will turn on and open to you. Good luck, and drive fast.
Alright, so there you go. You can see just what Akraku was talking about. Now, the controls are the X button is your gas, square is your brake, just like it was with the motorcycle and riding levels for Crash 3. You can hop with the L1 and the R1 buttons. You can do a power slide by turning and then hopping. You can see a bar at the bottom of the really quickly.
To access this track, you must first collect the number of trophies required to turn on the warp pad. To get trophies, you must race other open tracks and come in first place.
You can see a bar right underneath the map in the bottom right of the screen. While it is green, you cannot get a speed boost with it. You know, it won't do anything if it's green. You have to wait for it to turn red before you can get a boost with it. The longer you wait, the better your boost will be, but you also run the risk of backfiring the car, and you can kind of hear like a backfiring noise, and you won't be able to get to a boost if you do that. And I'll run over here and see what this is really quickly.
This is the load save screen. There are 5 of these screens, one in each world section. When you want to load or save a game, go to one of these screens. To access it, drive up to the screen and stop. Then, follow the directions.
And you can see here, load, save, delete, exit, just like it was with Crash 2 and 3. And we'll drive over here. We can see a door with 2 keyholes on it.
You must have 2 boss keys to open this door. You can race a boss after beating all 4 tracks in an area. Beat the boss in a boss race, and a key is your prize.
And Aku Aku kind of says the same thing for the 1 door, but I'll go ahead and run back to that really quickly as well. This is a boss gate.
To access this boss garage, you must come in first place in all 4 races of this area.
So kind of like get all the crystals in an area to be able to fight the boss in both Crash 2 and 3, and get all and just beat the levels. I guess this is more like Crash 2 and 3. You have to get all of the crystals to be able to fight the bosses.
You must have a boss key to open this door. You can race a boss after beating all 4 tracks in an area. Beat the boss in a boss race, and a key is your prize.
Alright, so that's all the stuff that you can learn right now. Aku Aku will continue to give you hints for your first 8 races. After you win a race, he'll give you a hint about different things that you can do with the to how to play the game. So I'll try to save a lot of that stuff for them if something that I may not remember. And you can see here the smoke coming out of the tailpipes is turning black. You can get a pretty good acceleration boost if you can get the bar to be almost full, if not all the way full. And you do have power-ups in this game that you activate by hitting the C button. You get them out of these question mark crates. You have a random amount of different. You have different ones that you can get. A TNT crate, a Brio beaker, a bowling bomb that you saw me use, a little speed boost canister, the little red thing with the blue round thing on the top of it, a shield, the green thing that you saw me use. That's the Brio beaker. Let's say nitro crate. Once you get 10 pieces, the items that you will then be juiced up, as the game calls it, and you will get different things, and they will have different effects. You can also have missiles that depending on how well you do. If you stay out in front like this, you'll have stuff that will slow down the competition. But if you're lagging behind, you will have different things that you can get, such as the missile, the clock, an entropy clock, which slows the field down and allows you to catch up, really quickly. It definitely helps, especially once it's juiced up. Kind of like a warp portal that will track the leader. If it's not juiced, if it is juiced, it will hit every single character in a. Let's see, if you're all the way back in 8th, it will hit the guy in 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 1st, instead of just homing out the leader and then hitting the other characters as you go along. Now you can see the winning animation for Crash. Every character has their own unique animation, and losing animation. See there, Polar is sleeping, Engine is shooting flames out of his rocket, and you saw the...
Congratulations. A trophy. Wampa fruit you collect, the faster your card will go. If you collect and hold 10 Wampa fruit, you'll be juiced up, and your power-up will become more potent.
If you saw the girl with the umbrella, her name is Isabella. Every character has, well, there's 4 girls that will do that. Every certain characters have their own, like Crash and Coco both have Isabella. Cortex and Engine have their own. Dingo and Tiny have their own, and Polar and Purr have their own. And really quickly, just to give you a power-ups list, just because I know I won't get all of them. You have the tracking missiles, bowling bombs, power shields, explosive crates, both TNT and nitro, Embryo's beakers, both green and red, Entropy's clock, the turbo boost extra thing, the warp orb, the Aku Aku, and the Uka Uka masks. The missiles, when juiced, the missile moves faster and is more accurate. The bowling bombs, the bomb has a bigger blast radius, which is useful for sending up to 3 or more characters flying. The power shields, the shield is now blue and does not fade out, but lasts forever until hit by a weapon or fire like a bomb at another player. Explosive crates. Instead of a TNT, the crate is now a nitro and will explode on an impact if another player drives into it. The red Brio beaker. Now the beaker is a poison. After a player hits it, spins out of control. A black storm cloud will appear over their head, and the player will now drive slower, plus your currently held weapon will take a change. If too many explosive crates or beakers are present on the track, earlier ones will begin to explode, and we'll see that with certain boss fights, boss races that we see in Tropy's clock. The usage of the clock will make the other races spin off and make it much slower. Juiced up, the effects last longer. The turbo extra is longer and a little bit faster when it's juiced up. The warp orb, no physical change, however, it now targets all races on the track in front of you. However, if you are using an Aku Aku, Uka Uka mask, or you are using a shield, the warp orb will not affect you, so that's something good to know. The Aku Aku Uka Uka mask, now you have invincibility. Your cart will also travel faster for the duration of its use, and you will not lose any Wumpa Fruit if you fall. You can also knock out other races and make them tumble and crash. Juiced up lasts a little bit longer, and you can move faster, so I just figured I'd point all that out. Because like I said, I probably won't get to show off the missile too many times. I know of at least one race that I may, if I can get lucky enough to get it. Maybe 2 races, I'm not sure how the other one will go. But with these normal races, I shouldn't have any trouble, winning. So I would suggest, if you have a favorite character, to kind of monitor them and see where they'll go, because the events are, it's random how each finish will be. I mean, you can play there we go. You can see the Aku Aku mask. It acts just like it does in Crash 2 and 3. Or I guess Crash 1, 2, and 3. You move faster. You have invincibility, so that it doesn't hurt other. It's gonna suck. It won't. Wow, I guess you get to see the clock as well, and you can see, and then they kind of bounce around. What I guess they call tumbling, and that, you can just drive normally and not use the boost that the speed boost that you get, and you can pass them very easily. Yeah, I'm not really trying hard enough with this. I'm usually a lot faster, but I'm kind of getting caught out with these missiles. But yeah, the events are random. Every time you load up a new save file. So like with the last race, Engine and Polar came in 2nd and 3rd. Next time you play the race, it could be totally different. Well, no, it will be totally different. Whether it be just they swap places where Polar's in 2nd and Engine's in 3rd, or two totally different people up here. And that's something pretty cool that they added. The results will always be random. there will never be the same finish twice on the track on a save file. You know, I could come back into this race right now, and Cortex and Pura may not win. You know, they have the chance to, but they probably won't. Well, it's a very high possibility that they won't. And the only reason why I'm still showing this is just so that you can see the losing animations for all the characters. You see Cortex is crying.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. When you get a TNT crate on your head, start hopping immediately. If you react fast and hop enough times, the TNT crate will fall off your head before it explodes.
And that's just one useful thing about the hopping. You can see what you'd have to do. You want to kind of just, like this, hop about 3 or 4 times like that, and you shouldn't have any trouble getting the TNT crate off of your head. But if you have too many long hops where you're stuck in the air, you won't be able to do it, so you want to be very careful about doing that. But anyway, so you can see the location of the overworld map is in Insanity Island. All of the locations of the maps will be on different places on the 3 islands, and you'll get to see them as you go along, and you get different. Some of these tracks will also look familiar. There won't be any tracks from levels that you might have seen from Crash 1, 2, or 3, except for maybe a handful. Now that I think about it, they won't look exactly the same. You know, I mean, you won't be running through a linear level by no means, but it will look somewhat similar to them. At least the names will. You know, sometimes the backgrounds, the sky will look the same as certain levels. You know, it's and as well as enemies that litter the track. Sometimes you'll have enemies from old Crash games that litter the track, and you'll be able to see those from time to time. And now for colors, you can see every kart has its own color. Crash's is blue, Tiny's is light green, Polar's is, I believe they called it indigo, I think, but it's supposed to be just like a light blue or a baby blue. Cortex's is red, Dingo's is a lime green, Pura's is dark purple, Engine's is I believe light purple, and Coco's is supposed to be pink, even though it doesn't really look pink on the map. You can see that is the car that I'm coming up to. I probably won't be able to pass her, just because there's not enough laps. You really need about 4 laps to be able to pass, or to start lapping other cars before you can get to the tail end of the field. But you can definitely help yourself out, especially on this track, by laying objects around over holes, which will make the other players fall. Every racer has their own racing line. They don't have the same movement and they don't move around like you would. They follow one straight rail-like line that they have to follow through the entire track. Sometimes they will change it up, per lap. They may run tight on one corner, then the second lap they may run in the middle of the track, and then the next lap they may run on the outside. But for about 80% of the track, they will follow the same lines that they would. And if you know where some of those lines are, you can definitely knock some people out. Tiny's supposed to growl here. I don't know why he's not doing it.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. You can get a hang time turbo from jumping. The longer you're in the air, the bigger the turbo you'll get when you land. For big turbos, try to get extra air time by hopping off jumps using the R1 button.
You really haven't been able to see that. That's why I haven't been able to show it off all that much. But as we go along in the game, there'll be better places to show that off at. I believe this track actually has something like that where I can show that off. And the racing lines are kind of like the results. They will never be the same twice. You know, Coco may follow a certain line in this race, or then when I come back to this race later to try to go after the relic and that strange token that we saw, you know, that may be different later on. And so there's a few racing lines in there. I don't know every single one, and sometimes they won't follow the racing lines that you know of. And you can see the big jump that I gained there. The boost really isn't that useful using it there. You have to kind of use it over a jump that won't mess you up, like somewhere along here. And you can just look. The other character, once you get far enough away from the other characters, about where I am now, they won't be shooting at each other. So if you see their faces, their little icons turn red, or green, whatever you lay down, they'll turn red for everything but the green Brio beakers. So if you lay down a Brio beaker and they turn green, you know that one of them hit them, or if they turn red, you know that someone hit something, especially if you're this far away from the competition. And Polar hit the TNT that I laid down there. I don't think that's quite the right spot. You have to be pretty precise with something that small like the Brio beakers to be able to make sure that they hit it, because like in the entrance to that tube there, they can actually miss it more often than not. And it's actually a good idea to watch the other racers here, because you can kind of tell what lines they may take. And I missed that shortcut again. Looks like Dingo actually did hit that Brio beaker I laid down, so that's good. Now if the engine will lay that one going into the red tubes, that would be good. That probably will hit them, but I'm way too far ahead. I'm just about to start lapping people myself. Alright, so there you go. Dingo did get hit by it, sadly. And that's a really fun way to play with the results of the race yourself. Dingo probably would have finished the race in 4th if I hadn't hit him. But since I did hit him, he ended up finishing, I believe, 6th. So, that's just something fun that you can do while you're racing, especially because this game is very, very easy, especially if you learn how to do the turbo boost. That makes it a lot easier, and you will be able to really get a very good boost with it, and you'll be able to get really far away. You crazy enough to race me? I'll show you while driving. That last one across the finish line is a rotten brain. Now, Ripperoo was actually supposed to talk, but I don't remember it. I don't remember exactly if either Naughty Dog didn't like the way that it sounded, or they couldn't get the words to sync up right, or if they just didn't feel that it was good enough for good for him to talk. But you can actually play as the boss characters as you progress through the game. You will be able to unlock them, and every boss cart has their own handling and all that. And I'll talk about that once I unlock the boss characters, and I'll talk about that there. And every boss will lay down their own power up, or they'll have their own specific power up that only they use, and they only follow one racing line that is very hard to find out for the most part. I mean, it's pretty much all over the place. It's not a real one set defined line that a lot of other carts will take, so you have to be very precise when laying your traps down, and but you also have to be careful. As you can see, some of TNT exploded there, and that's kind of the edge of when the TNTs that I lay down will start to conflict with the TNTs that Ripperoo is laying down, and that just kind of helps keep the track clear, so that if you're running far enough ahead like this, that you won't have to worry about the bosses or anything that you lay down get to affect your race, which is very useful. But it does stink that if you're trying to hit Ripperoo and your traps just mysteriously get blown up. It does stink, but I prefer having a clear track instead of a clear track and not being able to hit the boss instead of a cluttered track and not being able to hit the boss. I definitely prefer that. So I'm glad that they did have a way that they could clear the track for you. But Ripperoo's thing is that he lays down TNTs and they just litter the way. And if you do get caught behind him, it's very, very difficult to get ahead. And the one thing that's definitely helping me is that I'm using the super boost pads. You are crazier than me. Have a key. Good luck, you'll need it. But yeah, I'm using the boost pads, which definitely makes this a lot easier. If I wasn't using it, I could still get ahead just because I use the sliding, the sliding power boost or turbo boost, whatever you want to call it.
Congratulations on opening this new area. Here you will find 4 more tracks to race. Good luck.
Because I do this and a lot of, best every kart will maybe do it 5 or 6 times per race. And now really quickly I'll pause here. You can see Insanity Beach and Gemstone Valley. You can see the colored gems here. The colored gems do make a return, as well as I said, the relics. You have to get 10 relics to be able to unlock this track.
You must first collect the required number of relics to race this track.
And you can see here, there's the saving and loading screen if you wanted to save and load. The star here means that a boss races here, and this is where Oxide's ship is actually parked.
You don't have the 4 boss keys to open this door. Beat each boss to get a key, and when you have all 4 keys, come back here to race Oxide.
And then there's some things in here you can do in that door once you have 2 keys. But I'll be saving that door for once I get all of the relics that I'm going to do, or that that I'll have. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I'm going to talk about some of the trivia for the tracks. There's not a whole lot, but just some different things about them. I'll try to clear a level per video if I can. Depending on time, I may try to do more. But as we go along, the tracks will get longer and a little bit more difficult. So I may just try to keep it at 4 races in a boss fight or in a boss race. I don't know for sure. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and start at Crash Cove. Crash Cove is a racetrack featured on Crash Team Racing, and it is one of the first available to race on in adventure mode, along with Ruse Tubes. They are both located in Insanity Beach. Crash Cove is styled in a very similar manner. It is Crash Bandicoot's home racetrack and is in the Red Gym Cup alongside some other tracks. And the Wumpa Cup, which is a tournament that you can do in arcade mode. Description: being one of the first tracks in the game, Crash Cove is very easy to win. The track essentially introduces the elements that are frequent in races. Crates line up in rows of 4 environmental hazards, shortcuts, etc. And so I'll go ahead and do Ruse Tubes now. Every track, most tracks has someone that owns them, and whoever owns them, like with Crash Cove, if I wasn't playing Crash would start. That load save screen is starting to get a little annoying. The track owner will always start first, but that really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect how easy the race is to win or not. But anyway, so Ruse Tubes is a racetrack featured on Crash Team Racing, and it is one of the first available to race on in the adventure mode. It is also in the green and purple cups. It is located on Insanity Beach and is the smallest race course in the game. It is Ripperoo's home racetrack and is where you face him in the first boss challenge. Description: like Crash Cove being one of the first tracks in the game, Roost Tubes is very easy to win. The track essentially introduces the elements that are frequent in races, crates lined up in rows of 4, environmental hazards, etc. It is a basic figure of 8 track made of long blue tunnels and large rocky caverns. There are also pictures of Ripperoo on the walls of the caverns. At the end is a huge skeleton which racers must drive through to finish. The whole track appears to be underwater. So now we'll do Mystery Caves. Mystery Caves is a race course in Crash Team Racing based of the lava caves. It is raced on in the Nitro Cup and the Red Gym Cup. The course begins in a cave where some tikis are. In the background, down the hill, a pond where 2 turtles act as springboards is driven into. The racer can jump off them for speed boost. The track splits into 2 and the racers get to the lava fall area. Giant fireballs jump in and out of the lava and may even hit racers. At this point, several racers will fall into one of the holes, and by the time Aku Aku Uku can recover the unlucky racers and return them to the track, they will be far behind the others. After this, the course goes through a long cave with 2 turtle ponds at the front. Then you go into a doorway where other turtle pond is located, and then the course comes, repeats, and adventure mode it is in Insanity Beach across from Ripperoo's Boss Garage. And so now we'll do Sewer Speedway. Sewer Speedway is the 4th track in Crash Team Racing. It is based on the sewer levels in Crash Bandicoot 2. It is in the Blue Gym Cup. It is much longer than other tracks at the early stage of the game. It starts in a little straight zone with a little jump. After this jump, we can see 2 alternative routes. The left side makes you go down, and after you make a zigzag in the left side, you find a speed booster which you can use to jump right and find the same route of the left side, or you can jump left to make a little shorter route. This is the best. If you are in time trial, then you enter in the sewer, which is most part of the route. The sewer has a big valley in the center, and if you jump besides, you can get turbo boost about a third of the way through. There is a hole in the wall which, if jumped through, reveals a secret route. It may, as some say, that it's based on the sewer levels from Crash Bandicoot 2. You can use this secret route like a very effective shortcut because the secret room is filled with a lot of speed boosters. There is only one of the jumps. There is only one of the jumps of speed boost. I'm sorry, this is not well written. There's only one of the jumps of speed booster, and after of it, the route will be completely circular. When you come back to the malls at the starting, and after a little jump, you will find the starting line. Yeah, I mean, that makes no sense. None of that. If the player is skilled enough and breaks all the if you break all the crates in all the relic crates, negative times can be achieved. This track, along with Turbo Track, are the only levels where this is possible, and I'll talk about those once I get to it. But anyway, so let me see if I can find something about the boss races really quickly. No. Let's see if this will actually tell me what I need. Alright, Ripperoo has made another appearance in CTR as a boss race and an unlockable character. His home track has Roost Tubes. When racing him, he is constantly dropping TNTs under the track. After defeating him, he gives you the first of 4 keys needed to race Oxide. Yeah, so anyway, that's all the trivia and everything for everything that I've done so far. So I thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many times did I hit a boost pad in the 5 races that I've done so far. Thanks for watching. Next time we will do this new area. I will complete it. I'll do all 4 of the tracks and the boss race. So until then, later everyone.